Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach Tom Wells and Alyx King. It's Friday, December the 28th, 2018. It's 8 a.m. New York time, 5 a.m. in Los Angeles, 1 p.m. in London, and 12 midnight in Sydney, Australia. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in if you're listening live. And if you're listening to the recording, thank you for listening to the recording. We appreciate it either way. This is, of course, your Friday morning daily dose of happy, at least Friday morning here in the U.S., and we are catching up. Well, as I was setting things up, as I normally have to do to make sure we're streaming our stuff live to the various places on Facebook, we were chatting about Christmas and what our Christmases were like. And that's kind of like the way we get the morning happy going today. So I don't want to have to repeat everything or make you guys repeat everything that you already said, but you can kind of summarize, like, well, I can tell just from the smile on Alex's face, she had a great Christmas. She has a great Christmas.
I did have a great Christmas.
you have a great Christmas,
but I was every day, so it doesn't matter.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it, right? So every day's Christmas, right?
Yep,
that's a good thing. And Tom had a good Christmas too, even though we were talking about hair loss and so forth. But that he didn't experience that during Christmas, so that was good.
Yeah, the hair loss wasn't a big part of it.
That's good.
I mean, two pecan apricot pies that still have a half of one of them left. Yeah.
Wow.
That's like heaven. Yeah, it's so good. With real maple syrup.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Yum. Yeah. I could talk about that the whole show. It's so
let's see if you can actually
attraction.
do that. You got 58 minutes to go. Let's go. Start. No, sorry.
Yeah, you know I would. Yeah.
You probably would. Yes.
Find some way.
Oh.
It might get a little sidetracked. I would tie it back together. And
you start reading recipe books is what you do. First, you take 1 cup of
not recipe books.
Oh, good grief. Well, I'm glad you guys had. I've already related to our audience on yesterday morning's podcast what our Christmas was like, but I'll let you guys know. Louise and I spent Christmas Eve in the hospital.
Oh my God.
And long story short is this medical issue she's been dealing with. It's actually a thyroid-related issue, and it led to her experiencing a condition known as AFib, or atrial fibrillation, in which her heartbeat is kind of out of whack. You know that one. Well, went into the hospital. They were drugging her this way, drugging her that way, trying to figure out how to rebalance the thing. And then at about 10:30 at night on Christmas Eve, as she was trying to sleep, not terribly successfully, but trying to sleep, her heart stopped. Stopped for about 5 seconds. And then it restarted.
Oh, my God.
And it restarted in sinus mode. So it just came right back. It was like her body did
so it
reboot.
just restarted itself.
Yeah. Yeah, just like a computer reboot. Yeah. But it freaked the nurses out. All the nurses, they're all sitting at the nurses' station. They've got the readouts of all the different patients in the various rooms. And her readout also shows flat. And everybody goes, and her particular nurse said, wait for it. And about 5 seconds later, it started going in sinus rhythm. And everybody's cheering and celebrating and high-fiving.
Oh, goodness. Well, Merry Christmas to you guys. Jeez.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that was a big relief. No doubt about it.
Were you there when that happened?
I was not. We had been up for 36 hours dealing with this thing, and I was absolutely wiped out. So I was at home sleeping. Wow. And Louise wasn't awake either. I mean, Louise was asleep. Her nurse was so excited. She wanted to tell Louise and found that Louise was asleep. And so let her sleep because she knew she was going to have to wake her in about 2.5 hours to take blood pressure and vitals and so forth. So she did that at 1 o'clock. She went and did that and told her what happened. And from that point on, Louise had trouble sleeping because she was so excited. She was waiting for me to wake up so she could tell me the good news. And we've seen some really nice improvement in her. She was in some really major fatigue issues, and they aren't all gone yet. But boy, does she have a lot more energy now, just because she's back in sinus rhythm. Yeah. So. It was our Christmas miracle. That's what we're calling it. It was our Christmas miracle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Especially since you got the news at 1 a.m. on Christmas Day. So,
Yeah, there you go.
Right. So this is a Q&A, and I see we've got a lot of people saying hello and signing in and so forth. Suraj, you have a good question. He says, what's our topic of discussion for today? And the answer is, we're going to find that out.
We like to fish around and figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it depends on what you guys take in for questions or comments or whatever. But Yeah, this is kind of an open show. It's a Q&A kind of show. What are we saying? Oh, Suraj also wrote, hello, Dee Dee and Nasha and all of our celebrities on the video screen. We're celebrities. Did you know that, guys?
Once you get on screen.
Well, I knew I was a celebrity.
Well, we knew that before we even got onto the show today. You're a celebrity.
By the way, when we do our intros, I would like a title too.
Okay, what title shall I give you? I didn't know what to give you.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't.
You're gonna have to help me with that. I mean,
I think she should be Dr. Alyx.
Dr. Alyx.
I should be. I watch enough Grey's Anatomy. I should be.
Yeah. And you've probably spent enough years.
Seasons.
You probably spent enough years studying something to be a doctor by now.
Yeah.
I certainly have.
Well, you could be.
Yeah, because you're like life coach Tom Wells and Alex King. She's here too.
Oh, right.
You could be like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. You could be a doctor of thinkology.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Doctor of Thinkology, Alex King, is joining us today from her mountain kingdom, mountain palace.
Don't really see anything big coming in the comments. I will mention we were so involved. I did the show yesterday morning with Joel Elston and told the full story of what happened with Louise that day. And at the end of the show, after we'd signed off, I found that somebody had actually logged into the Blue Jeans platform because they wanted to come on and talk about a win they had, and I didn't even see it. I was so embarrassed that I missed that one.
Oh no!
So I wanted to acknowledge Sam. That Sam had been trying to attract a new job, and over the Christmas holiday, apparently he got it. And so I just wanted to say, congratulations, Sam. I wanted to acknowledge it publicly. I'm so sorry that I didn't get you onto the show, but hopefully you're listening or listening to the replay or something for this particular show, because we're proud of you. Congratulations. It's a real skill to learn how to do this regularly. It seems so simple to do, but there's so many ways we could trip ourselves up that when we do it right and we get it right, we need to acknowledge it and pat ourselves on the back. So just pretend that all three of us are patting you on the back, because that was a great job. Way to go. And,
Good job, Sam.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
you go, Sam.
So nobody's really come up with any topics. So I'd say let's just make something up and see what we're talking. Oh, wait a minute. Well, Nasha has a question. All right, let me just copy and paste this over here.
Doesn't she always?
Well, yeah, she's one of our major fans. Absolutely.
Yeah, she is.
And we love her for that. That's a good thing.
We do.
Yeah. Well, she contributes a lot, too. Let's be perfectly honest.
She does.
She has given us good topics to talk about just with some of the questions that she raised. So
Very true.
Yeah. So my computer's working a little slowly, so I'll just try to go over here and I'll read it. She says, okay, I have a question relating to my health. I was reading Quantum Healing, and I was fine. And lately I have had very painful lymph nodes, and today I found out all my reports were haywire. Iric acid to high insulin, etc. I want to know, how do I get myself healed? I mean, a body which is not at ease gets ill, but I really don't know how to find out as to what's lying beneath. Okay. Yeah, I can see where that would be distressing for sure. And it's true, when you're not in good health, that's the hardest time to try to be a deliberate creator, right? Because you have all this stuff going on that is distracting. Reality is very distracting. It's distracting at the times that are the least convenient times to be, when you're trying to focus on something and it just distracts you. Yeah. But nevertheless, that's what we have to do. We have to redirect our focus.
Yeah.
So, Tom, you're the official life coach here. I'm going to start with you. If you need to redirect your focus away from a health condition, particularly if there's pain involved, you're afraid about what's going to happen or whatever, what's your first step? How do you redirect?
Well, interestingly, I deal with this almost every morning because I wake up with pain in my gut almost every day, and I know that pain has to do with something that is up for me. So I think the body is the last place that our stuff shows up, and what it is it's trying to tell us something. It's very lovingly trying to tell us something. It can be painful, but that's because we haven't listened to it for a very long time. Not that we're at fault for that, but now it's time to listen. because it's showing up in our body. And so I think it's the time to slow down tremendously and to feel into the thing that's happening in our body and to say, hey, what do you need to tell me, my beloved? I hate you. No. This is painful, but you know what? There's a message in this, and that's why it's gotten to this place. So what I do is I feel into it. I just say, I don't know what the message is necessarily, but I just feel the pain, and I just let it be a sensation in my body. Let it be an energy in my body, and don't have a judgment about it. And then it will begin to show us what we need to learn because we're finally listening to it. It's sort of like welcoming all your feelings at your fire, welcoming every feeling we have, including my voice, is all welcome. So that's my answer. Is that
okay.
Is it love it, feel into it, be in the mystery of it. Don't have to have all the answers. It will show you. You can relax and don't run from it. Don't try to deny it. Don't try to push it away because it's part of you that you really need to listen to. That's why it's finally showing up in your body as pain or something obvious.
Okay, so we've heard from our life coach. How about oncology? Alyx King.
Well, I agree with Tom that you shouldn't run from it and you should acknowledge it. But I also am a firm believer in doctors. I believe that you need to get these tests and figuring out what's going on. You have manifested the proper doctors to figure out what the issue is and to trust in them and maybe do a cleanse and give your body a reboot.
The cleanse?
Yeah, that's good too.
Now, when you do a cleanse, what do you do? What's your particular approach for that?
Water, lemon, lime, mint, all mixed together in like a giant jar, and that's it for like the weekend.
Nice.
You don't wither away. That's pretty good. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it's only the weekend. It's not here.
I don't know. If I go more than 4 hours without a meal, I start to wither away my mind. So.
Well, if I think about anything, I gain 5 pounds. So.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the ability of being a doctor of astrology. I mean, everything that you think manifests.
She's a thinkologist.
She certainly is. I
mean, that's really good advice, Alex, because anything we do to pamper ourselves or nurture ourselves when we've got an illness of any sort is going to just also tell our whole being that we love ourselves, that we are being patient with ourselves, we're being kind to ourselves. It's sort of like letting the tissues begin to talk to us, because the tissues in themselves are all full of consciousness, and they're all trying to align with Source. And what we're trying to do is get our whole self to go with our alignment, with our natural, and just relax into the fact that health is just natural. Health is who we really are.
Yep.
And so, get away from the habits that push all our buttons, like being too nervous, too worried, too fearful, do that. Start to relax.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can also share with you what happened just when early part of the story with Louise. It's a part I hadn't actually told before yesterday, but I did tell it as part of the story, which is Louise been experiencing these fatigue and concentration and all these various symptoms for a few months, and they kept getting worse and worse and worse until finally we went to a walk-in clinic toward the end of November around Thanksgiving. And when we were in that clinic, they were taking vitals, they drew some blood and all that kind of stuff. And in the process of a discussion with the physician's assistant who was taking care of us at that point, the physician's assistant made a really bad mistake, a mistake that they teach you not to make, but she made it anyway. She speculated about what the situation could be, and her speculation was that Louise could have Parkinson's disease, not knowing that my father had died from symptoms related to Parkinson's disease, and my wife and I had both watched him wither away in a most horrible way. And so now she implanted in our minds the idea that this is what was going to happen to Louise, and we were horrified by this. Well, fortunately, 2 days later, we got the real diagnosis, which was which is a thyroid, rather hyperthyroid. and much more treatable. Modern medicine knows how to handle that one. They can regulate it. So that was a whole lot better. But during that 2-day period while we're waiting for that, we were trying to come to grips with the idea that Louise had Parkinson's, which was terrifying. And in the process of going through all that, a number of things happened. First, all of what we've talked about here on the show, all of the studying and so forth, kind of came to the fore very quickly, and I realized in a big way that I needed to concentrate on Louise's health. Louise needed to concentrate on her health and not concentrate on being sick and not concentrating on having Parkinson's or anything like that. And along with that, because it was my wife, I had this huge surge of passion. I mean, sometimes you have to kind of work the passion up. Not in this case. It was just, boom, it was right there. It was off the charts. It was off the scale. And I recognized that this was, you know what it's like. If you have some really strong emotions going on, and you're aware of what you can do with that, I was aware that, okay, I got this strong passion going on. I can direct this. I can take this passion, and if I use that passion and focus on what I want for Louise instead of this thing that we don't want, I can have you Jack. And Louise was trying to do the same thing. So I ended up coming to the living room, actually in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep, and went up to the wall where we have a frame with the pictures in it. And one of the pictures is of the two of us holding together. We took the picture of us in Seattle, Washington. We're smiling, we're feeling really good, we're looking good, and so forth. And I focused on this is the way I wanted Louise to be. This was my vision board, so to speak, for what I wanted to attract for her, which was being completely healthy and energetic and alive and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I did. I focused on it then, and I focused on it periodically throughout the next days. And I'm certain that in the process of doing that, I ended up building up such momentum in favor of health that even if she had Parkinson's, it basically got replaced by a hyperthyroid. Now, I don't actually know what happened with that. I can't tell you that I know for certain that she really had one, we didn't move together. I'm just saying that if she did, we moved the needle. And even if she didn't, we still, when, the right kinds, we still attracted the right kinds of doctors and so forth to treat this condition that she was dealing with. And from that on, even though she still was wrestling some stuff, this AFib kind of reared its ugly head after that initial session in that walking clinic. Despite that fact, both of us found we were really determined that we were going to beat this thing. I mean, she was getting weighed down because obviously when you're dealing with something like that, it does weigh you down. But I was talking her up and saying, we're going to get there. We just got to focus on what we want, so on and so forth. And I was feeling pretty confident about it. So when this thing happened on Christmas Eve, the morning before Christmas Eve, it was early morning, we were kind of thrown by it. But there was also a part of me that was saying, this is not going to work out. I don't know how. And she was relatively calm, too. She said to me afterward when she was being carted to the hospital in the emergency vehicle, she was calm. And she was surprised how calm she was because this was her heart that they were dealing with. And that's a pretty scary thing. But nevertheless, this work that we had done made a difference. So that's a long story to lead to a very simple point, which is, when you focus on what you want and what you don't want, and you do it with a high degree of passion, you give yourself energy to get through stuff, and you, of course, attract the stuff you want rather than the stuff that you don't want. So instead of focusing on things like, I forget what you said they were testing for, lymph nodes and insulin and so forth, instead of focusing on that, focus on what you feel like when you're healthy. When you're feeling good, you're full of energy, when you're able to do all the things that you want to do, and make that your mental picture. In the Neville Goddard tradition of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, create a little visual image of yourself in your mind as a healthy person and experiencing it, feeling what it's like, not just emotional feelings, but sensational feelings. Cindy Chavez likes to say that she wants to make sure her feet are planted firmly on the floor as she's visualizing this stuff so that she can imagine her feet actually being on the floor in the scene that she has playing on her mind, so she can make the scene more real for herself. So do stuff like that, but make that scene as real as you can. And when you're dealing with a health issue and a threatening, it's actually easy to get the passion part up. So get the passion part, and once you've got it up, focus on what you want and really apply that energy to what you want. And I promise you, it's going to produce some results that will be completely unexpected. So that's my take on the whole issue.
I had that same thing happen on Christmas Eve that Louise had happen, except I didn't end up in the hospital.
Really?
I had a ridiculous stomach pains that started early in the morning, like I sometimes have in the morning, but then they wouldn't go away. And so they built during the day, and at about noon I had to go back to bed because the pains were so horrible. So I stayed in bed from about noon till 5, and just tried to sleep, but the pain was ridiculous.
Wow.
And I didn't know if I was going to have to go to the emergency room. But I just kept working with the pain. I just kept staying with it, and I hated it. But eventually I had to say to myself, similar to what you said, was that I'm not going to let this take me down. And I just sort of decided that there's no way I want to go into this thing of having some huge thing going inside me. Although if it's happening, it's happening. But I decided I got to not have this be a problem. I've got to have this just go away. And it did. It completely went away. And I realized I did make a very clear decision to have it completely go away. And I've been really fortunate in a way. I'm really glad. But it might have had a lot to do with making that decision. That I didn't have the time to have a giant stomach problem going on.
Yeah, right?
It might show up anyway, but right now, man, it's completely gone, which has been really nice.
Congratulations.
That's good.
I get a little bit of pain here and there, but I just try to work with it all the time, and hopefully that's what's happening. I'm working with it.
That makes a difference, no doubt about it. And Deidre has a question. She says she's not sure if it's appropriate, but absolutely yes, Deidre, it is appropriate. She says
Everything's appropriate.
Yeah, because the law of attraction is about life, so anything in life is appropriate,
Yep.
Very simple. So she says, do you guys think it is wise to get into a romantic relationship when you're in a negative vibration? I personally don't think it's wise, but what do you think? Alex, you want to go first on that?
I mean, I need more specifics on the negative vibration. Like, what is she negatively vibrating? Like, is it that negative that like you're just a Debbie Downer and you really shouldn't? If that's the case, then you're in a depressed mode. Then no, you shouldn't be getting into a relationship because you're just bringing your depression to someone else and catching. Mm-hmm. So, but they know. But if it's just a funk, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have my first meeting with the person when I'm in the funk, but yeah, I agree with you.
No, yeah. Give it a couple days, let it mellow out, and then talk to the person, see how it goes. He or she might be the person that brings you out of that funk. So you never know.
That's always possible. And Tom, we also know that whenever we're talking about relationships, it's pretty easy to get into these kinds of negative vibrational situations. I'll speak for myself. I know how easy it is because I used to be that way long before I met Louise. I would go from one failed relationship to the next. Calling a relationship was probably giving them more credit for what they deserved because they didn't last long enough to be called a relationship. But you get into that negative mindset and it can actually stop you from having any kind of success at all. So it's a pretty important question. How do you deal with that when you want to get into a relationship, you want to find that right person for you, but you're in that negative vibration? What do you do?
You gotta like be working on me the way I look at myself. I've got to be working on that negative vibration all the time because it's just part of who I am, and it's something showing up in my life because that's something I need to be listening to. That's why there's that vibration, and so I need to look at what story am I telling myself, what feeling am I denying that I'm trying to push down, what is exactly I'm doing that's causing me to be in a negative vibration, and you're going to be dealing with that in your relationship anyway, because relationships often push all of our buttons. So it's just one of the opportunities to deal with it is. Before I start interacting with somebody, it's a good idea to just work on that by myself, I think. Sometimes working on it in the relationship can be healthy if you're able to approach it in the right way. But it's tricky, isn't it? I was with a friend yesterday to play guitar for several hours, and I was looking forward as a fun time, but I wasn't in a great vibration. Eventually I just said to him, I don't know why, I'm just not really here today. And he said, no, that's cool. We don't need to play that much. Let's just talk. And we ended up having a great conversation, and everything worked out. But it was just good to admit the fact that I'm just not feeling that great, but that's just okay. It's just what's happening. That's what's happening to me right now.
Yeah. I agree with you. Suraj actually makes an interesting point, too. He says, you want to vibrate so high that toxic people will stay away from you automatically. Absolutely, that's the goal. We don't want the toxic ones.
Facts.
Absolutely right. Oh, my goodness. So let's see.
You want a toxic people repellent.
Now, Nasha actually has a follow-up on her original question, so let me get that in here so I can read it to you. It says, wow, what I'm trying to say is when I read that I'm healing, my thoughts change and I feel fine and I am fine. What I'm trying to ask here is I know I should be nevelizing. I like that word, nevelizing. But I want to know what is it emotionally that I have to address? Because, let's see, I think I missed something here. I'm not sure what the because part is. Oh, I see. The comment kind of got edited a little bit by Facebook, so let me try that again. Because uric acid means I am full of anger, as in I'm a Reiki holistic healer, so I know I'm suppressing something. Interesting point. And she says, well, thanks for causing me to be in this vibration is something I want to address. Okay. So, all right. Well, I think you answered your own question. Didn't you?
Basically, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know what you have to do. I guess the only question I have is what's holding you back? You know, why not just do it?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it's about. You've got it. You know what to do. And as a Reiki healer, you know how to use Reiki principles to, align your energy field so that you're getting the most bang for your buck, so to speak. So just do it. Just do it. Don't let anything hold you back. Just dive in. And I know something about your personal history to know that you're really good at diving in. I got to tell you, Alyx, she is one of the best visualizers I've ever talked with. The detail that comes through in her visualizations is absolutely beyond belief. So this woman really knows how to visualize. She really knows how to get to the feeling place of it. So all she has to do is do it here because she's good at it. So, yeah, just do it now. Just do it.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Deidre made an interesting comment. She says, actually, it is always a woman wanting to be in a relationship while she's in a negative state. I always want to tell her that it's the last thing she should do, but they don't want to listen. Well, that's what it is to be practicing to be a deliberate creator. It's not so much listening to somebody else, it's listening to what we know is true and listening to ourselves. And sometimes we just don't listen. That's what we do sometimes. We're all trying to practice.
Yeah, but sometimes you can see everybody else's drama, but you can't see your own.
Well, true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I
get the impression.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about
that. Say if you...
We were talking about that. Louise and I were regarding what she went through, because when you're in the middle of it, I mean, it looks like chaos. It looks like craziness. And then you look back and you see, I mean, literally, I didn't even do everything in this show. I laid it out more in yesterday's show. But literally everything dovetailed exactly the way it needed to in order for this thing to work out, including the insurance. Mm-hmm. The insurance situation changed the same week that this whole thing started with the walk-in clinic. And it changed completely for the good, because we went from a really mediocre insurance situation to a wonderful insurance situation, and then this hit. Just perfect. The universe completely had our backs. But at the time, you don't see that. You have to look back, like you say, 2020, looking backwards, in order to see how it's all lining up. So I guess part of it is just trusting it's all working out, even though I can't see how it's all working out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trusting how every part of us is actually working in harmony, and it's like trusting the whole universe in a sense. Like how do you just know that everything really is on your side, and that it's all meant to work out, and yet that's the way it really is. But the more I'm in that place, the more I see that, the more I notice things are working.
Deidre made a funny comment. She wants to have toxic people repellent in a convenient spray can. Wouldn't that be helpful? I mean, come on. That would be great.
And then it's like somebody walks by you on the street and they're like, hello, and you're just spraying them in the face. Like.
Meanwhile, the police are arresting you. Like, are you carrying mace? What are you doing? But, that would be fun to have. Not so much a spray that you spray in their face, but maybe like a button, like an easy button. And whenever you see a toxic person, you push your easy button and they go away. See, now
I saw a thing on
there's no side
Facebook
effects.
that I saw a thing on Facebook about a guy who had this hula hoop attached to him so he could keep his personal space.
I love it.
So it's like, you cannot get in my personal space. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a little annoying when you're trying to get through turnstiles and such, but other than that, it's great.
Yeah, it is. A little hard walking down to the street in New York, but
Yeah.
living in a town like me, it works fine.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't really get terribly crowded in your town, unless there's a rush for the beach, which is always possible. But
Not on my beach.
not at your beach, though. Okay.
No, my beach is private, so I'm fine.
Oh, nice.
Let's
Yeah.
see. Nasha's also giving us some more stuff here to work with, so let's see what this is all about. She says,
Bring it on, Nasha.
when we rise in meditation, we can be very strong, and you can actually astral travel. Telepathy is like you become a USB and you gain data by just receiving the bits from your energy field. I have never heard astral travel associated with a USB port. That's a different analogy. I like it, though. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Not really raising a question, but I don't even know where the astral travel came in. It must be something that she and Dee Dee were chatting about. But interesting, yeah. You ever thought of USB port being something like a metaphor for connecting into your energy field?
I do now.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess sort of, yeah. Well, I don't think you even have to astral travel now that I think about it. Any time that we're connecting with what I call inner being, the moment that we're doing that, that's a USB connection. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
That's what being in alignment is all about. That's all. I'm no great insights, Tom. That's it. That's as far as it goes.
Or you're plugged in. You're plugged in.
You're plugged in. That's right. Yeah. Which is a good place to be. That's actually a good.
I heard this analogy that it's like we have all these plugs on our chest. If you imagine your whole torso full of plugs, even, or USB ports, and it's like if you block off you know how you put those caps on things so you can't plug something in, and you have them. Some of them blocked so that you can't get connected to certain things that you don't want to be connected to. You know, people can't come up and just plug into your plug because you've got them blocked, but you block them by your own happiness, your own love of yourself makes it impossible for these negative vibrations to
feel
come
your
to
energy.
us, you know. Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's really what we all know. That's what's going on anyway. It's what we're vibrating with. That's our best repellent to people we don't want in our spaces. What we're vibrating with, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. One of the reasons, probably the only reason why it is we don't see people from the non-physical realm is they're vibrating at such a different level, we just can't see them. But there are people who have learned how to raise their vibration enough that they can see them and they can interact with them and so forth. So, I mean, there's clear proof. All you have to do is just be on a different vibrational level, and you got armor on. You know, no way they can get to you just because the vibration's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're vibrating with, man, that's the people that are going to show up. I started watching the news a little bit more over the last month, and I realized last night I just have to stop. It becomes like an addiction, you know, to like, oh, let me check out what's going on out there. I mean, and I don't think it's wrong or anything. It's just that, well, what do I want in my vibration, you know? Because I had the option last night. I could watch something on Gaia television, or I could check out the news, or what's the latest funny things about putting down Donald Trump. And I thought, you know, it gets old. It gets old after a while, like all the jokes about him, you know, and why do I want my consciousness to focus on that? You know, I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, that's the point right there.
Yeah, I don't watch the news at all.
And I came to the same conclusion this morning, Tom, literally, that I've been watching too much news and that I don't want to do it anymore. And so I decided from now on I'm going to allow myself to see my headlines once in the morning, and then that's it for the rest of the day. And I did that before we came onto the show today. So I see my headlines. I'm done. I don't go look at a headline again until tomorrow. And I might not even do it then. I mean, you know, it just depends how much I want to stay away from that vibration. Because you're absolutely right. It isn't so much that it's bad for you. Like you said, it's more, do I really want to be vibrating there? And I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't.
What would I rather be doing with my life? You know, it's like we're all individual creators, and if we plug into that, it's sort of like the opiate of the masses idea, like why would we plug into that? It's like, but yet it's so attractive, it's seductive because it seems like, well, we have to know what's going on in our society. Well, yeah, in a way we do, but in another way we are our society. So what we decide to focus on is the way the society is going to evolve. It's going to be a lot based on what we decide to do, not just on what CBS and NBC and Fox News and CNN tell us is going on,
Mm-hmm.
Interesting phrase you used.
Yeah, that's why.
Because, of course, Karl Marx came up with the phrase, religion being the opiate of the masses. But I think you're right. Television today is the opiate of the masses. I think your analogy is right.
Facts.
Well, it really keeps a tremendous amount of us in a certain head frame. Even the television programs. Not that they're bad or anything. It's just, but I got to ask myself, is that really what I want my consciousness to be formed with?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of interesting things out there. If you go on the internet, there are thousands of fascinating things to be learning. And I'd rather be a person who's part of that movement, of like, let's change everything by changing our own consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Alex, I interrupted you. What were you trying to say before I so rudely interrupted?
I forget.
Apparently it was really important. Okay.
It was clearly important.
Yes. Siraj has an interesting thing. He says, we should arrange our get-togethers occasionally so that all people will get hangovers by just listening to knowledge about LOA.
Well, isn't that Saturday morning?
I guess. I didn't realize that we generated hangovers, but, where takes.
Because if you listen all week, then Saturday morning, you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, I had too much LOA this week. Oh.
I gotta cut back.
That's funny. Oh, Nasha messaged me during the week, and she just didn't acknowledge that she had done that. And then a few hours after that, she saw the invitation that I sent out to people who wanted to hear what the full story was with Louise. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, Nasha, I didn't spend a lot of time. I was still dealing with stuff with Louise, and I wanted to make sure I got the message out, so I didn't have a lot of time to do checking. And she said she was blown away. Yeah, you were not the only one. I was blown away too. It was quite an experience, especially when Louise told me that story. I mean, she woke me up. It was about 6:30 in the morning, and I'd gotten probably about 6-7 hours sleep at that point. But she woke me up, and she was so anxious to tell me, and I was glad to hear from her. And when she told me the story, not only at that point during the conversation, but afterward, as I'm getting ready to, making breakfast, I'm feeding the cats, I'm collecting some stuff to bring to the hospital, to bring to Louise, and so forth. And like every 10 to 15 minutes or so, all this surge of happy emotion would just pour out of me. I just like do a jig, or like I can't believe it, or it was just like flowing out of me. It was. I think the cats must have thought that I was crazy. But literally every 10 to 15 minutes, I'd have this little mini explosion of joy. It was really something.
What was that coming from?
It was coming from the knowledge that Louise's heart had done that reboot, and that her heart was back in its rhythm, which was critical.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was critical to her.
That's when you got that news, yeah.
When I got that news, and for the next couple hours while I'm getting ready to go to the hospital, it was like bursting out of me.
Yeah.
It was really something.
That's great.
This time, I love the fact, if that had happened in the past, I'm certain that I would have bottled it, right? I would just bottle it up inside and just kind of repress it a little bit because, no, I'm not allowed to share that kind of emotion. But having studied the subject long enough now, I recognize how important it is when emotions come up, negative or positive, to let them out and say, hey, come on, guys, show me what you got. And I did, and it felt great. So, good experience for me, anyway.
Yay.
Yeah. So, let's see. Not a lot of questions, a lot of discussion today. Not a lot of questions, but I don't know, maybe we may be getting to the point where we're kind of past the questions for a while, just because our listenership has gotten so knowledgeable about how this stuff works. It's more about, kibitzing and sharing ideas and so forth. So, I mean, to me, the next step is we start getting people volunteering to join us on the Blue Jeans platform, so we're actually talking to some of the listeners, you know? But
Right.
that'll come. It's just a question of time.
Yeah.
So okay, well, let's talk about this. The new year is upon us, or just about to be upon us. This coming Tuesday is New Year's Day. So New Year's is usually the time to talk about resolutions, which usually get broken within the first week. But in LOA circles, we don't make our resolutions at the last minute on the last day of the year. We're working on our resolutions throughout the year. So I think we're probably going to be better at it. But anyone want to share some of the stuff you're trying to make better in your life in the coming new year, making 2019 a better year than 2018?
Tom?
Sure. I'm resolved to continue unfolding the most splendid life I can imagine, and to make sure that I allow it to happen by relaxing and chilling out and just giving myself a break on every level to listen to what my heart really wants, to just listen inside and notice, like, what's the thing that's calling me the most, and am I letting myself have that? And also to be more diverse, like trusting that I can go out and play and still get my work done, that I can really build into my life times of play and make sure that I do it, because it's so easy for me to think that I've got to keep my nose to the grindstone, that old idea, and yet I know that's not how I get the results I want.
Right.
By just, constantly being attentive to things that look like work, like, oh, well, this looks like it'll bring me the result I want if I read this book, so let me sit here and read this book, or let me write this thing that I need to write for my workshops. And that stuff's got to get done, but it gets done from inspiration much more so when I'm having fun. So I've got to include going out and playing music with people, and I've got to include, just doing something completely frivolous and, finding ways to just mix it up so that it's more fun, just in general.
Yeah.
And out of that inspiration, then will come the real thing that I want. The stuff I really want will come from my ease rather than my struggle.
You put your finger on it. The one thing that's most important is to stop being the doer to make something happen. And it's the way I'm trying to remember it these days is the way things happen is simply by being in alignment, putting my request out, and letting the universe take care of it. Which is where, like you're describing, that's where we feel like we have to jump in, we have to be the one with the nose to the grindstone, we have to be the one to make it all happen. So it's reminding myself, no, that's where I take my step back, I let the universe handle that part. So what part should I be doing? The part I should be doing, and you alluded to this as well, is the part that's fun, the part that I'm really enjoying. That's where I should be spending my time. And it goes totally against the grain of what we're taught. We're taught that we have to be the doers to make things happen. No, you don't do that. Boy, that training is deeply ingrained, and it can be a little bit of a challenge to overcome it sometimes. But yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. So,
yeah. How about
Good
you?
goals, Tom. Good goals.
How about you, Alex? What are you going to do?
I am going to concentrate on making my body better. I want to start working out. I also want to start taking better care of my skin. I'm realizing now that I'm 35 that, I can't just walk around with water on my face and keep it moving. Like they say, there was a thing on Facebook that said, if you've seen this show, and it was like an old show, if you've seen this show, it's time to start using, wrinkle cream. I was like, oh no.
Okay.
I was like, oh no.
That's funny.
But I have more melanin in my skin, so I don't have to worry as much. But still, I am light skinned, so I do have to worry some.
I'm sorry, Alex. You're just not as light. I mean, if I walk out in the sun for more than 20 minutes, I'm in trouble. So believe me.
I know. I'm not as light as you. But as for my people, I am light skinned.
Okay. I get that.
Even within my own family, I'm the lightest one.
Are you really? Wow.
I am. To see my brother and sister. They're in the sun. They're in Virginia and Miami, so they're in the sun.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
And then I have agoraphobia, so I don't go out in the sun. So I don't get any sun.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that doesn't help
So,
either.
yeah.
So good for you, though. Those are good goals. I like those. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, well, I can identify with the part about getting yourself into shape because I just joined a gym for that purpose because I realized how out of shape I was. And fortunately, I figured out my own routine. Like most people go into the gym to work the weights or work the treadmill or work the machines and so forth. I really hate all of that. I despise those activities. They're not fun. But what I like to do, and I think I've told you about this in the past. I in the past was a swing dancer. I like doing swing dancing. Well, I can't really swing dance by myself, but I can do the steps by myself. So I'm actually developing an exercise routine day by day using swing steps. And I'm doing steps. I pick up some hand weights. I'm doing stuff with hand weights and so forth. And I'm just kind of, I may even turn this into a program I can sell at some point. I don't know. But just because I'm doing what I enjoy doing and I got my headset on and I'm listening to some swing music so I can do it to the beat and so forth, it's keeping me going every single day. Now, if I had to go every single day to lift weights, forget it. I'd probably be done after the second day. Just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, you would.
So, but by finding something that I enjoy doing, that's keeping me going. So find a way that you enjoy moving and do whatever it takes to do that, whether it's joining a gym or something else. I just like joining the gym because they have a classroom that when I go there, the classroom's empty, so I can just go in there and do my dance routines that I'm doing. But just find whatever activity you like doing that is takes some energy, takes some action to do, and then figure out a way to do that regularly because that'll keep you going.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's the regularly doing it consistently.
Yeah, that's my issue.
That's my issue too. Yeah, but I feel like as long as I have sort of a balance, because I'll go for a walk one day. And I'll go on the exercycle at the gym another day. And the only reason I can do the exercycle is because it's got a 20-inch TV screen on it that shows me mountain biking. It's like a video game of me mountain biking, and I get to shift the gears and everything. And there's about 200 rides on there you can do, And
nice.
They're all fun, like one moonlight ride and all this. It's totally fun. But I do that like once every 4 or 5 days, and then I dance several days a week. So yeah, if I make it fun, I pretty much stay in shape.
But
it's not easy to, because I can go for days just sitting in a chair too.
Same.
That's not good. Yeah.
Well, that's why you find something fun, because when you find something fun, then when you give yourself a nudge, you kind of give in and say, okay, I got to go do this. But if it's not fun, you're not talking yourself into it for anything. It's just not going to happen. So being fun has to be that's a critical piece of the pie, no doubt.
So what's your plan for the new year, Walt, besides that? You're going to work out more? And
it's like what I was talking about before. The news, that's a big part of my New Year resolution, is limiting myself to a maximum. I may even cut that back even more, but a maximum one quick glance at the headlines through Google News in the morning, and then that's it, and I'm done for the day. I'm not allowed to go there anymore. And I'm also probably going to, I've spent a lot of time this past year on Facebook, and I'm thinking I'm going to get away from that too. I'll allow myself to do a little bit of Facebook time.
Alex.
What am I going to do with my time?
Right? How are you going to get your information?
Well, actually...
How are you going to have friends? How are you going to have any friends?
What makes you think I have
any friends?
How are you going to know what's up with your friends?
Can we still be your friends if you're not on Facebook?
Right? Can I find you? Where are you?
Where would you be in the universe?
Well, I didn't say I was going to disappear entirely. I just mean instead of spending hours a day,
Instagram.
I'm going to spend 10, 15 minutes a day. I'm not going to spend hours every day on it. And that's the thing. Drew and I were talking about this yesterday.
I'll allow it.
You'll allow it? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll allow it.
No, Drew and I were talking about this last night, about how people are so plastered into their phones. For him, it's a pet peeve. He gets frustrated with the fact that his friends, now he's a young guy, he just graduated from college, so he's like 22, 23. And first of all, he's dealing with the fact that when you graduate, everybody goes their separate ways, and so you kind of lose all your contacts that you had. Unless
you have Facebook.
Well, yes, that's true, and he does maintain contact with friends that way. But you lose that personal connection. So
Yeah,
that in-person connection. So with a few people who are still around, when they get together, he'll say, "Look, let's play a board game instead of doing something with video or with a phone or something like that." And the only rule is, besides the rules of the game, is you have to put the phone down. You can't pick the phone up and use the phone while we're playing the game, because I want this to be an actual human interaction kind of thing. And I think he has a good point there. There's some validity to that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not so much looking for the in-person interaction, although I do want more of that. I want to simply take my attention away from all this stuff that is distracting me. We were talking about that before, how television is the opiate, or it used to be religion, or whatever. All this stuff that just distracts us from what it is we really want to be focusing our attention on. So when I say I want to cut down the news, I want to cut down on my Facebook interactions and so forth, what I'm really saying is I want to replace that with deliberately spending time creating videos and writing journals and whatever it takes to focus on what it is that I really want in life, so I can spend a lot more time getting excited about that. Because I think that's where I'm going to end up producing what I really want to produce in life. So it's a relatively small couple of steps to make, but I think they're steps that can make a huge difference. At least that's the theory. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens when I put it in practice.
All right.
Just applying yourself in that, when you have that time that you're not putting there.
Say that again, Tom?
How do you apply it's just applying yourself in the ways that you would prefer to when you're not putting your attention into Facebook or the news,
Right.
Like how you do apply yourself, right?
Exactly. It's choosing how I'm going to focus and where I'm going to focus and what I'm going to focus on, instead of being so wrapped up in the same old thought pattern that I'm in every single day that leads me to the same old experience that I have every single day. Mm-hmm. We are creatures of habit, but the funny thing is the habit can get in the way. And it's time to start changing some habits, so that's what I'm going to do. What does it say? We have like 60 or 70,000 thoughts a day, and 95% of them are the same ones we had yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
yeah. You got to go up against that part of us. Yeah.
It's like, this is called...
it's called the comfort zone, right?
The comfort zone, that's right. That's exactly what it is. And nothing really happens.
And there's nothing wrong with comfort, so I always look closely at my comfort and allow myself to have plenty of it. But then I also ask, well, how long is my life anyway? I better get on with some things I want to have happen too. I can't spend my time just in my comfort zone all the time.
Well, plus, how comfortable is the comfort zone really? I mean, look at all the ways that we just kind of give up on. Well, I'll give up on this, and I'll give up on that, and give up on that, so I can be in my comfort zone. What's comfortable about that? You're sacrificing everything.
Yeah.
That's not comfortable.
Sometimes
that's
our comfort zone sometimes the comfort zone is doing things that are really good for us. And so I got to look at that and say, how much do I really want to be doing this? But then what other things do I really want to be doing? Mm-hmm. But sometimes I got to push to go start doing something. I got to push myself to get out the door and go dancing, rather than say, well, I got to get dressed, I got to go do all this stuff to get to the dance place.
That's how my mind works.
Yeah, right.
Alex is
but then I got to say, it's so much worth it when I do it. Almost every time, it's just totally worth it that I got dressed and got out there and did something different.
Mm-hmm. And that's really
it challenges me.
That's a big thing for you, Alex, isn't it? Because you deal with agoraphobia. You deal with some pretty strong phobias where getting out is concerned. So. I mean, that we're not talking about a New Year's resolution. We're talking about a day-to-day thing that you're wrestling with every single day.
Yeah. It sucks. It's like, and then the perseveration too. So it's like the thought process of, like, let's say if I have a doctor's appointment, so that's something I have to go do. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, but do I want to? Can I cancel it? Has it been 24 hours before I can cancel it? I got to put my dog's vest on. I got to get dressed. I got to shower. Like, I'm just, there's so many reasons not to. And then it's like, what if I have a panic attack while I'm out there? What if I have a seizure while I'm out there? It's just, it's too much. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Like, I have all that weighing on me in the last 20 minutes before I leave.
Isn't it annoying, too, that we're weighing that on ourselves? I mean, that just pisses me off to no end. I mean, it just, like, why am I doing this to myself? I make my life so difficult.
Yeah.
That's where all our gifts lie, in penetrating into that stuff. Why are we doing this to ourselves? And if we begin to unfold that, then we start finding out the stuff that we're hiding from, the stuff that we're in denial of, that shadow side of us. That's where so many of our gifts really lie, is uncovering that stuff. But it's not easy, right?
Well, that's what you've been spending a lot of time on this past fall, particularly. I know you were, well, even in the summer too, you were really emphasizing getting beneath the stuff that is in the way. And I know you've talked a lot about the progress you've made both on and off the show. So you're an expert. You're the one we should be asking about, okay, how do we do this?
Oh, I'm still learning. I'm still totally learning. But no, it's just I'm excited about it still, because I think so much just lie in that direction. So much freedom when we are finally go through our shadows rather than push them away and try to deny that they're there.
Yeah. Well, they're there for a reason. They wouldn't. We wouldn't be experiencing them if we didn't need them at all, if they played no role in our lives. So that makes a lot of sense to have to take a look and say, okay, what message are you delivering to me today? There's something to learn here, whatever it is. And then once I've learned it, okay, bye-bye, you're done, go away.
Yeah.
It transforms, becomes our greatest ally, eventually.
Okay, we only have about 3 minutes left, but you got to talk about that for a moment. How does it become our greatest ally?
3 minutes left?
Yeah, we started.
Because
we got a minute. We got a minute left, so not 3 minutes, but do it in a minute.
Because those were the things we chose, either in this life or in the past life, that are exactly our button pushers, because they hold keys to the magic unfolding of who we really are. I mean, they're so much a part of us that we have turned them into demons. We turn them into villains. We've turned them into things to hide and push away and be afraid of and deny and everything. And they have within them all these keys to who we really are. How is that? It just happens because that's the way it is. I guess that's contrast. It's the ultimate lesson from contrast that we get by going into it and discovering, wow, what's in here? What's in this place where I have all this fear and this doubt and this anger and this worry? There must be something. There must be a pony in here somewhere. That story of the room full of horseshit and the kids looking constantly. There must be a pony in here somewhere.
Oh my God, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, you haven't heard that one before? Yeah.
No, I've never heard that.
Oh yeah.
That's a real old one.
Yeah.
I just replayed it in my head.
Yeah, the little kid is out in the barn and just like
he's
digging
digging
for hours. And parents says, "Why are you out there in that horse shit all the time?" There's gotta be a pony in here somewhere.
That's great. I love it. I'm going to use that.
Working on shadows. That's what working on the shadows is. You got to have the attitude of a kid. It's like, God, there must be something good in all this pain.
And on that happy note, I'm going to say next time we talk to each other, we're going to be doing so in 2019. So I want to wish both of you a happy new year.
Well,
same to you.
And same to you, Alyx.
Same to you, Tom.
Thinkologist.
All right. And the same thing to our listeners as well. We hope that you'll join us next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.